the French capital in the latest round of protests by the Yellow Vest movement. There were more than 1,700 arrests as thousands of riot police used tear gas to try and contain the crowds. Well, despite their efforts, demonstrators wreaked havoc in a fourth consecutive weekend of unrest. Yeah, quite extraordinary scenes. And what began as local protests over fuel price hikes snowballed into a nationwide uprising against Emmanuel Macron's government. But it's not only people in high visibility yellow bibs who are showing their frustration. Paramedics in Paris, high school students across the country, they have all been holding rallies. Charlotte Dubinsky has been following events for us in France.
As you can see, they're sounding their sirens here just on the Place de la Concorde as you go towards the National Assembly. The thing that they're unhappy about is a change here in France that was implemented 2 months ago, whereby hospitals now decide which ambulance service in France will collect patients, and the drivers are concerned that that could threaten their jobs in the future.
We will always be here, even if it means losing our company or losing everything. We'll be here until the end.
Last night, the Elysee government announced that it would be cancelling that increase in the fuel tax just hours after the French Prime Minister had gone to the National Assembly to say that it would be suspended for 6 months. The President may have hoped the U-turn on fuel tax hikes would have quelled the anger, but it hasn't. It only seems to have intensified it, with truckers, farmers and students now taking their concerns to the streets.
I consider Macron to be a president who is against social rights, who is trying to deconstruct the welfare state.
He is clearly implementing policies for the rich. He is the president of the rich. We want a president for the poor, a president who prioritizes the common interest.
Thousands of people have once again come out to protest, and there are many demands that they want their government to meet. I believe last week there were about 5,600 police officers here. This weekend, 8,000 in Paris alone. There you go, more tear gas there being deployed at those protesters to try and clear them out of that street where they were causing damage. All around us, just took a look at this tear gas going everywhere. We've also heard reports that Christmas trees are being burned across Paris. We are, of course, in the last few weeks leading up to that festive season. And here we've also had rubber bullets being deployed very close to us. Tears streaming down my face again as a result of tear gas. I can't tell you how many times now we've been gassed. In previous protests, the police have generally tried to hold back from deploying tear gas, and even when they've had objects pelted at them by the protesters, they've held back until they feel it's too much. Today, when one or two things have been thrown at them, they have been responding immediately, and it's not just tear gas, it's rubber bullets, it's water cannons, and of course, we have armoured vehicles on the streets in Paris, the first time since 2005. This is a rubber bullet. I'm just going to put it in my hand, so perhaps my cameraman Alex can get a nice close-up look at it for you. It's pretty big. It's a little bit spongy at the top. The point is the nib is quite large. The idea, it's not meant to obviously go through you like a normal bullet, but if this hits you, believe me, this is going to hurt, and it's pretty scary having these things flying all around you.
Cheryl Dubinsky on the ground in Paris yesterday. Meanwhile, French MPs have slammed what they are calling the unacceptable and humiliating police treatment of student protesters back on Thursday. Now, that's after video emerged of detained students in a Paris suburb being lined up and forced upon their knees. France's education minister has condemned the actions. Following the most violent riots in Paris in decades, Emmanuel Macron bowed to public pressure earlier in the week, abandoning the fuel tax reforms that ignited the unrest. But the protests have already gone beyond just fiscal policies. Political analyst Eric Verhaeghe says most French people, well, they're not certain that President Macron is capable of solving the crisis.
We have to find a political solution, and it's the political phases which begins today. And I'm not sure that Emmanuel Macron has a good idea of what to do. And I'm not sure that he will be the good man, the right man in the right place, because a lot of people in France consider that he is not able to lead the country in the interest of all the people in France, in the interest of all citizens. And they consider that he is the man of a minority, of the richest, which is a symbol in France of his breakdown with the rest of the people.
Let's crack on with another big story of the week. Russia raised the alarm over